Hello and good morning. I'm Zach. Welcome to Let's Talk About Us. Today, we are covering a story from Associated Press. They have 2 lean left ratings as well as a center rating by Adfontes Media. And they have 2 factuality ratings of high, and they are independently owned. Abortion has passed inflation as the top election issue for women under 30, survey finds. And the reason I think it's done that is because inflation is now down to like 2.4%. Like, it's really low now, despite Trump's constant lying about the topic. By Geoff Mulvihill, alright, it was written on Friday, or updated on Friday. Abortion has passed inflation to become the top issue in the presidential election for women younger than 30 since Vice President Harris replaced President Joe Biden at the top of the Democratic ticket, according to results released Friday of a survey of female voters by KFF. About 2 in 5 in the group of young voters said abortion was their top concern in the recent survey, compared with 1 in 5 who ranked it most important in the same survey in the spring. In the earlier edition, inflation was the top concern for younger voters, as it was for women voters of all ages. Inflation remained the top concern for women in each age group over 30 and for women overall. Women overall ranked abortion as their number 3 concern after inflation and threats to democracy, but ahead of immigration. KFF, a health policy research, polling, and news organization, surveyed 678 female voters September 12th through October 1st. Most of them were participants in an earlier wave of the same poll, conducted in May and June. The follow-up survey group was supplemented with 29 black women to ensure an adequate sample size of that group. The sampling error was plus or minus 5 points, with larger ranges for subgroups of voters. Abortion has long been a major issue, but the landscape shifted in 2022 when U.S. Supreme Court, powered by 3 justices nominated by Harris's current opponent, former President Donald Trump, overturned Roe v. Wade and opened the door for states to impose abortion bans. Most Republican-controlled states are now enforcing such bans, including 13 that bar abortions at all stages of pregnancy, with some exceptions, and 4 with bans that kick in after about the first 6 weeks of pregnancy, before women often realize they're pregnant. Harris has been making abortion access a centerpiece of her campaign. Younger women who responded to the survey and spoke with the Associated Press on Friday have noticed. Ali Zobel, 19, who describes herself as a left-leaning independent and lives in Woodbridge, Virginia, said that reproductive health is the most important issue for her as she prepares to vote for the first time, and that she appreciates Harris's calls to restore abortion rights nationally. She said that she's concerned about stories of women having health emergencies because they can't obtain an abortion, and that pregnancy is really hard and that people should not be forced to continue it if they don't want to. Oh, this should be. My brain read it, but this is if twice. As a mom, I don't want my kids growing up in a world where it's like that, she said. Sydney Wright, a 29-year-old stay-at-home mom in Effingham County, Illinois, said Roe v. Wade being overturned propelled the restoration of abortion rights to the top of her list of concerns. And while she's not thrilled with everything about Harris, the Democrats' abortion position is one of the main reasons Wright plans to vote for her. I've seen people have to travel out of state and come to Illinois for health care, said Wright, who is not registered with a political party. I've heard of cases where doctors were forced to leave patients to suffer until they were practically dead, until they could give them medical care. In addition to the presidential race, a number of other elections this year could impact the abortion landscape, including in 9 states where there are ballot measures that would protect the right to abortion in the state constitution. Races for Congress, as well as state offices such as governor, legislators, state Supreme Court justices, and attorney general, could also help determine abortion policy moving ahead. Overall, about 2/3 of women said the election will have a major impact on abortion access, up from just over half in the initial survey. Most women said it is likely Trump would sign a federal law banning abortions after the first 15 weeks of pregnancy if Congress were to pass such a measure. Just as the survey period ended, Trump said he would veto an abortion ban if one reached his desk. Just like he's been lying about the economy this whole time, I'm sure he's telling the truth on that. He'll veto it, probably. The minority said they believe Harris would sign a law protecting access to abortion nationwide if Congress were to pass that. There's a deep partisan split over which candidate would be better on abortion access. Most women said they preferred Harris, including 90% of Democrats and fewer than 1/5 of Republicans. The survey found similar dividing lines around which candidate would be better for birth control access and in vitro fertilization. The survey found that Republican women are slightly less hopeful and enthusiastic and more anxious and frustrated about the presidential election than they were earlier this year. By contrast, Democratic women are far more hopeful and enthusiastic, though their anxiousness has also risen. Like in the spring, a little over half of GOP women are satisfied with their presidential choices, with satisfaction among Democratic women shot up from just over 1/3 to 3/4. And that's the end of the article. So stuff like this, I think, has become such a big talking point because this is the first time, at least in my memory, where Democrats have actually punched back in a really big way by showing directly what happens when women do not have access to the healthcare they need. If you watched the DNC at all, if you've watched some of the ads that Harris is running, she is brazenly and blatantly showing you exactly what happens when Republicans get abortion access and healthcare access removed for women. And as for Trump trying to pivot, saying he's going to veto an abortion ban, his running mate is literally the guy who helped write Project 2025. Don't believe what he says for a second. At the end of the day, I, as a dude, should have absolutely zero authority over any woman's body. It is not my choice. It is their choice. It is not Republican lawmakers' choice. It is women's choice. A woman should always have the right to choose. And not be held to peasant-brained ideas that life begins as soon as the seed makes contact with the egg. No. Science has disproven that again and again and again and again and again. Another important thing I wanted to hit on here is if abortion access is going to get enshrined into law by Congress, we need to be better about who we're voting for in local elections. Senators, congressmen, they require your vote. And if you don't show up to vote for local elections and only care about the presidential one, you're playing yourself. Because at that point, Harris can say, I want to get abortion enshrined into law all she wants. But if she doesn't have the votes in Congress, she doesn't have the votes in Congress. So, make sure you are paying attention to your local elections and voting in them. And let's see if we can get back to present day. Let's return back to modernity a little bit. That would be nice. I'm tired of our slow and maddening slip back into the past. This has been Let's Talk About Us. I'm Zach. You will have a wonderful day. And if you are a woman who would like to share your story about your experience with all of this, I very much encourage you to. The more people that talk about the horrible things that they have gone through because of Republican lawmakers and because of limiting access to healthcare for women, trying to control women's rights to their bodies, the more people that speak on that, the harder it will be for people like Trump to lie, for people like Vance to lie, because the truth will just be right out in the open for everyone to see. Y'all have a good day, and I hope to hear from you.